Conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Here.
Assemblyman-elect Mayor Simonson.
I am here. And our first, for our work session, we have none other than our former chief and still chief to us, Sir Ed Donahue, to give us an Office of Emergency Management update. So, Chief, if you would take it away.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to go into warming center operations. As probably aware, some people might not be aware. Several years ago, the state passed a law saying that each municipality has to have a warming center, which is different than a shelter. A shelter is operated when we declare a state of emergency for a hurricane or a storm. It has to be staffed adequately by the township. Warming center operates anytime the temperature is 25 degrees without rain or snow, or 32 degrees with rain or snow. And that's only from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. So last year we did that at the rec center. We activated 16 times for what is called a code blue when they meet that criteria. Each county OEM is responsible for activating, watching the weather and activating that code blue. Then all the municipal coordinators receive a text on their phone that there's a code blue, and then we put the motions and works to work that out. So last year we did that at the rec, and our rec staff aides staffed it. We were activated 16 times, and we did had several occasions we did have at-risk individuals. By at-risk, I mean people that actually don't have a house, they might be living in the woods, living in a car, to come to the rec. Last year I did talk to several area churches that were thinking about doing this for us. But then at the last minute, just logistically and other concerns, they couldn't staff it properly, so they couldn't accommodate us. But this year, Pastor Tim West is here, and I've been speaking with him. He's a pastor at the Seashore Church of the Nazarene, Seashore Road. After a meeting of their church board of trustees, they have agreed to step up and do this for our community, so I want to thank him for that. I know on behalf of the mayor and council, we know the church does a lot for the community already, or outreach programs and a food pantry. So I think it'll be a good fit for us. I've talked to the county emergency management agency with Marty Palugi, and he has agreed to give us all the cots we need and blankets and you need there. He is going to provide food as well, so we might help him out with that. And so everyone knows the county is giving Middle Township and Lower Township funds to do this for any costs associated with the warming centers. So we're going to compensate the church in return with using those funds. So once that's official and paperwork is signed, that'll be up and running. We had 2 code blues already, and they were staffed at our rec. Say last year was 16. Some people did come out, but I think now when word of mouth gets out that it's at the church and there is going to be food there, we'll probably get more people utilizing that. Middle Township has a higher at-risk population, so they get more people at theirs, which is the Cape Community Church and Courthouse, but that is run by the Cape Hope Homeless Organization, who has also said it's Chris South and his wife Denise, and they have offered to give Pastor West whatever help he needs getting this initially up and running. So I want to thank you again, Pastor. And then transportation to that, if people need transportation that don't have cars, if police officers see somebody in the middle of the night, they'll pick them up and bring them there if there's a code blue in effect. County Fair Fee Transportation is involved in this, and the Branches is heavily involved in it. The Branches is a building in Rio Grande that feeds homeless people. I know, Pastor, you're on the Branches board. So the Branches, when there's a notification for code blue, they're going to stay open longer. So the clients will be that the Branches Fair Fee Transportation will pick them up around 6 and take them either to middle or lower And then in the morning, they'll take them back to the branches, and the branches will be open for them for some type of breakfast. So the long-range goal is to eventually, maybe for the county, to get a permanent shelter to do this, but right now we're not there yet. So real quick on shelter operations, our main shelter here is the Millman Center. Can be equipped with a generator. It's on a portable trailer. We take it there. Has kitchen facilities. Some of our cots have gotten a little old, so I talked to Marty Palugi and John Edwards again from County OEM. They've agreed to give us up to 30, 35 cots initially for the Millman Center to staff that. And then the rec center will be our alternate. And then worst case scenarios, we have put people into the Villas and Townbank Firehouse in the past, which gives us another 100 or so residents to shelter there. But the trend in emergency management is going away from using fire departments and first responder locations, because in a prolonged event, the first responders are going to need that location. But we're set up pretty good right now for initially at the Millman Center. That will be staffed by rec department personnel for Parks and Recreations. The supervisor there, Mitch Flynn, has told me he's ready, prepared to staff up to 5-6 people if needed on a 24-hour basis. Now, these are short-term shelters, so 3-5 days. Any long-term situation, the county does have 4 long-term shelters. 2 are pet-friendly. Woodbine, 2 in Upper, 1 in Middle. The Woodbine one is kind of like a mega shelter. It can house at least 500 people and feed 500 people for at least 2 weeks. So any long-term event, we would encourage our residents to go to their neighbor or friends or a longer-term shelter through the county, state, or Red Cross. And one last thing is, where we get a emergency management grant every year for $10,000. The state police runs emergency management in New Jersey. They've come out and given all municipal coordinators till the end of June 2020 to complete I believe it's 12 FEMA courses. I have some of them through my career in law enforcement. The other ones we're going to have to take online. So I have till next June to get that done. That's about it. I want to thank you again, Pastor Weston. Look forward to working with you.
Hey, Ed, I do have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The portable trailer, the generator, is that the one we borrowed from OEM, do you know? Or did we already have one for the Millman Center?
Yeah, we got that, I was there when they hooked it up.
Our own, yeah.
It's the county generator.
Okay.
No,
I don't know if, has it ever been tested? Have we taken that trailer, the generator, down to the Millman Center to make sure?
I believe
Yes.
Gary told me they did take it down there and test it, and did a dry run with
I was
it.
going to ask Dave if he knew if that.
That was tested when the electrical installation on the building was complete. They took the generator down and ran it.
Our electrician did all the hookups, and then he did check it and run it.
Yeah, they had a problem in Middle Township where they tried plugging it over to the Middle Township Elementary School, and it wasn't compatible. It didn't work. They found the last minute, that's all. So,
Now, we have 6 good school buildings that have large cafeterias and halls that could be used too, and we have done that in the past. But Gary Douglas has told me, and I remember, I think it was 2010, the blizzard, we had 50 people total, Millman Center, Town Bank, the high school. They had to move the people from the high school to the Villas Firehouse because even though it had a generator, it wasn't enough to do all the rooms that they needed. So we may want to revisit that. We had to get through a grant, Homeland Security grant or something, to get a larger generator for one of our schools.
I think the key to this is also we have double the efficiency that we've had, and last year was smooth. But when it comes to the shelter, the fact that the Millman Center not only has the generator, that kitchen could provide meals for 100 and some people. And the financing's already in place. We have money left over from last year, plus we're going to be fully funded again. So with the help now from the church, people do, I think we're in real good shape going into the winter time.
Yep.
Ed, thank you.
yeah, good plan, Ed.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Master.
Yeah, I got a big thing, contact me tomorrow. I got this one class that was offered to me for emergency management. It's up in Atlantic County. It's a big one for the state that they're pushing. You might have got it or not, but
Well, that sounds good. It might be some of those classes that are needed for the grant. So.
it's a long one too. It's
Yeah.
emergency management director or something for the state that they require, or we're starting to push.
All right, thanks.
And I also spoke with Mitch this afternoon because I didn't realize you were getting that many cots, but he's comfortable that we can store them without having any overcrowded rooms over back behind us. So we're good.
Yeah, I talked to Gary. He said he thinks there's room at the rec. So.
Thank you.
Awesome job. Pastor, would you like to say anything since you're here? No, I'm good. Whenever I'm at church, you always put me on top. No. No, thank you. Thank you very much for all your help.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to our consent agenda. Any questions from council? Comments?
I do have a
Jokes,
question, Mayor,
riddles?
on I guess the Scavenger Lantern project. Is that what Mr. Maffei is here for that also?
Is,
So the question for I guess, Mr. Maffei is I'm looking at the estimate that was submitted to council back in August 20th on that project over there. And when the two bids came in, they're a lot more money.
Yes,
There's a big difference. Can you kind of elaborate on that for us?
sure. Can we go for the mic easier?
sure.
Yeah, back when we did our estimate, obviously this project kind of evolved as we went along. And what I did is I went through and I kind of did a summary. Let's get that in front of me. There's a couple things kind of going through the whole thing, just to kind of go down a list. Atlantic Electric has provided us with an estimate. It'll be $50,000 for the streetlights. And actually, the monthly rate would be about $100. Based on number one above, whether or not we go with alternate one or not, that's kind of the questions we have to deal with. But as far as the addition, one of the items was to facilitate the streetlights and the light pole foundation. That added about $80,000. Because even though Atlantic Electric is putting in the lights, our goal or our part of it, we install the conduits that they would pull the wires, and we actually had to install the foundations. So that added about almost $81,000 to the project. So adding all that above with the streetlights and that was about $130,000 more than what we had first talked about. Another part of it was on the South Jersey Marina side. That was kind of an add-on at the end. If you notice, there's a guide rail that goes along the roadway there. It's actually their guide rail, but we suggested that we take it out as part of our contract. There's also, they have their electric conduit on that guide rail. So not only are we removing the guide rail, we have to take off the conduit, has to be buried in the ground, and obviously reconnect it. That added another $60,000 to the project. And one of the other things that probably was a little bit higher than we anticipated, the maintenance of traffic. Obviously, with the traffic we have along there, both contracts are around $150,000 for maintenance and protection of traffic. Unfortunately, it is needed, but that is something that probably we underestimated as far as how much cost they would have into that. So that's kind of leading into some of the ideas of how we got to where we were, if that helps.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys? We close that portion, open it to the public. Anything on the consent agenda?
Hi, Bill Greenfield, Villas. 2019-346, the capital budget amendment. What's being amended in that?
Anytime you do a bond ordinance, you need to amend the capital amendment. It's a requirement to make for your bond
So
ordinance,
that's related to the
to the bond
Scavenger
ordinance.
Land.
Scavenger Landing one? Okay.
Yep.
Nothing else has changed there?
Nope.
Okay. Now, is what he just said what the additional $500,000 is?
Yep.
So didn't this start out originally as like an $800,000 project? Now we're up to like 1.5?
We started out at it was going to be close to $1 million, not knowing what the story was going to be with the sign. We still don't know what the story is. A preliminary sign was not approved by the DEP. So that's one that could drop this amount by 100. We don't know. Bill, initially, we wanted to go over the road. The other factor with this, Joe explained 90% of it, but the site clearing along that road there's a lot of businesses on both sides of the road. Public Works might have been able to go and do some of that, but the liability of that off of that road, the site clearing was higher. We also were going to stop at the Lobster House, originally right there at Lucky Bones. But for aesthetic purposes, it made sense to run it all the way down around next to the bridge. and that was an added cost too. Similar to what we did up on the bayfront. We went so far and we realized there was a section left that
Right.
maybe we should go further to make it right. And we're doing the same thing at Roseanne. We started at Roseanne and then we realized, why don't we go all the way
Had to do another
to
couple
Bay
blocks.
Shore Road? So, and Bill, keep in mind, this really would be a $2 million project because the big break here is the electric company. Not charged, it was gonna be 400 and some thousand to move the poles. We had big costs up on the bayfront, even along the bike path with Atlantic Electric. But on this one here, due to a pedestrian grant of some type, there's substantial savings there. And
Right, okay.
And we're
The
going
thing
to,
that's always bothered me about this project, though, is it's a safety project, but nothing's being done to address leaving the lobster house there, where everybody makes the illegal left turn. Was there any kind of study?
they were talking about
When they were,
extending-
when they were doing that, was there any kind of study done about how many accidents happen there, or?
it's the worst accident area, but
Right, I
we
can't
were-
see how you're doing a
One-
safety improvements and not,
dropping
understand,
addressing
speed.
that.
Bill, there's already, the South Jersey Transportation Authority already stated they know that's a problem. We've been waiting for them to take action. There are plans that were drawn to lessen the safety problem. There's a widening that's gonna take place. But
Right.
rather than wait, we thought this project also might speed them up, like,
Okay.
you know.
I mean, I realize there's safety factor with pedestrians and all. That's part of this.
Now,
but
there is
that is bad there.
There is a project on paper that we've been waiting for
Okay.
for close to 2 years at the base of that bridge.
And now, you need help from legislators, and now you will have that, so,
Okay,
we'll make
Right.
sure that gets done.
We're looking at lowering the speed and getting the one island a little bit longer. To
I mean,
try
it
to
would
keep-
really back
And even
things
people
up,
making the
but-
lefts out of Lucky Bones.
I mean, it would really back things up, but what they really need is a light there, but that would cause a traffic nightmare, but
Yeah, the state's not going to do that.
no.
That's a
So
state
that
road. So
traffic
But
would-
people, more people make the illegal left than actually do it legally there, If you've ever, well, I'm sure you've all been there, but.
that's
I
why
used to
it's
sit
not-
out on the
time,
porch at
it's-
Lucky Bones and watch the BMWs and the Lexuses go right up on that cement island. It was pretty amusing at times, so,
Yeah, okay, all right, thanks.
just for something to do, All right, any other questions?
Oh, wait, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you want, I mean, a couple of things that we talked about. One, and I think Tommy just mentioned it, I'm sorry, that we are going to request the reduction of the speed limit there. As a matter of fact, as you come off the bridge, we're also going to be adding the rumble strips and markings to helpfully slow down some of the traffic. I know this is all just pie in the sky sometimes, but we are trying to address it. So it is, safety is being part of it. And even adding all the sidewalks and all the features on there is going to add to slowing down the traffic and hopefully cutting down those. Of course, when people make illegal turns, we can't stop that, but.
But we also widen the crosswalks to 10 feet, and they're made out of brick, the different color change that usually gets people's attention. And actually, the sign, if we can get it over the roadway, that visual will slow people down. So we're doing everything we can, in a passive way. I know the state did a study there, and I don't know what became of that. Got sent over to pedestrian traffic or something at the state. We never saw it again, so.
Thanks, Bill. Anyone else? All right, we close the public portion.
Approval of the minutes from the November 4th, 2019 meeting. Excuse me, resolutions number 2019-341 through 2019-349, and ordinance number 2019-16. A bond ordinance amending and supplementing bond ordinance number 2019-14, which provides for various safety and identification improvements to Schellinger's Landing, heretofore finally adopted by the Township Council of the Township of Lower in the County of Cape May, State of New Jersey on October 21st, 2019, to increase the appropriation by $500,000 and to increase the authorization of bonds or notes by $475,000. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing has been scheduled for December 2nd, 2019.
A motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simon?
Yes. Down to our regular agenda.
Resolution number 2019-350. This is a resolution, this is authorization for the 2019 incentive awards for the insurance waivers in the amount of $57,500.
Any questions, comments from council?
Just so, since there seems to be questions occasionally about this, this is contractual, but it also saves the township money. These are people that are giving up their health insurance with the township and getting a percentage, a certain amount back, so it does save the township and the taxpayers a lot of money.
Thanks for the clarification, Councilman. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, we close the public portion. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Abstain.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simon?
Yes.
Resolution number 2019-351. This is authorization for payment of college credits. This is in the amount of $18,810.
Any questions from the public? No? Get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Abstain.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. We've down to administrative reports. Jim, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yep. Last week at the chamber meeting and luncheon, which was very well attended, I wanted to bring back to the council that two of the participants spoke very highly and passionately about the success of the Veterans Day Parade and the growth in just 1 year of that parade. After that, the county actually did a seminar of what they were doing for seniors at the county, and the number of volunteers, which they said in the county now exceed 200, but the programs for seniors that they were talking about is something that was very impressive, from financial literacy programs to the extent now of the Meals on Wheels in this county, and the fact that any senior can get their taxes done. They actually have people coming in and doing the individual tax returns for people. This is good stuff, and it's stuff that we have to make sure our residents know that is available to them during the next few months. Also, we had our first meeting of the police negotiations last week, and we're getting right back. This next Tuesday, we'll be talking economics. We have our second meeting next Tuesday. And Breakwater, the housing project there, it's still increasing. I checked with Mr. Galestock's office today. They're now up to 14 zoning permits, so there's 14 houses that are set to be built there.
That's the new development right
That's
on
the one by
100 block, the one they
Across
haven't
from
fixed
Mickles
the
Run.
flooding?
behind Walgreens.
Yeah, the one that hasn't fixed the flooding problem yet. Okay.
So that's it, Mayor.
Tom, would you like to elaborate on that? It's your turn.
Well, that's actually something we've been trying to get done with the county and everybody else. They caused the problem, they have to fix the problem.
I'd like to jump in before we start our council comment. Do we have anybody, I know Sean's not here, right? We're good with reports for, we don't have any engineers report tonight.
No, I have a report for close concerning,
I just want to say, before we give our comments, is a big thank you and a shout out, because I know that this whole Veterans Parade wouldn't have happened. I don't think we realized when we first took it on. It's now statewide recognized, and I know it's going to grow each year. And I know two of the people in this room will never, don't like to take credit for things, but our Sergeant Major Deputy Mayor Frank Sippel and Eileen Kreis it just, this year was phenomenal. We got lucky and we got good weather. But to get all the veterans that we did together, to have the Coast Guard there, the high school chipped in, Tom with the scouts, and just everything. It was a great parade, and it was pretty well attended. I think it'll get better each year, but just want to give them credit where it's due. So thank you, Sergeant Major, and thank you, Eileen, and thank you everyone else too that pitched in. So there's a lot that goes into it, and we appreciate it. And I know the veterans definitely appreciate it. We appreciate our veterans. So with that, Councilman Conrad, you're
Well,
up.
you knocked the first thing on my list.
Sorry.
I
Well, you
mean,
can still,
Deputy Mayor, because they did another wonderful job, and people don't understand, and also our OEM had to do the plan for it. He left, Mr. Donahue. There's a lot more that goes into a parade than just lining people up, and you guys do a wonderful job, and thank you, Eileen, because I know you get to do a lot of the paperwork and all the fun stuff with this. There was also an event at the VFW that's always well attended, and the public's always welcome to show up. Memorial Day and Veterans Day, 11 o'clock at the Village VFW. It's a very nice ceremony, and it's a way to pay your respect. Other than that, I want everyone to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and hopefully we'll have a nice short meeting from here. Dave?
Yeah, I just have a few things. First of all, Mr. Ridgway, can you give me give us an update on the beach path issues?
Right now, we have transferred funds tonight to pay for the rails, the I-5, and the sand. We do have a state contract with the folks for the I-5 and the sand, but we'll be going out to bid for the post and rails. Approximate cost, also to rent the equipment there, is going to be 50-some thousand. We transferred money here tonight because there was already money there, but not enough for the increased cost. We've also met with the town bank property owners and answered a lot of questions concerning theirs, which are also going to need engineering work, and that engineering work is going to be taken care of by the town bank property owners. But they're waiting for a price, and Gary Douglas and Dave Lepore measured all those paths out. It was an arduous task for the numbers here, and we're moving closer to getting this done. And the update is it's a priority, and, when you have weather, when you have certain things, it slows you down, but, when will they be finished? All the paths, I don't know by next summer,
Yeah,
but,
there's a lot of them.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, that's exactly right.
But they'll be starting, I guess, shortly then?
Yep.
with everything? Okay. Good. The only other thing I have is, we have a glitch on Roseanne Avenue with that project as they're finishing up. They found a unmarked high-voltage primary electrical line right in the middle of the project, which, thank goodness, no one got injured when they uncovered it. From what I understand, Atlantic City Electric had a long duration for them to be able to engineer it and move it, but from what I understand, Ronnie Town did her normal thing to help us out, and they are making headway with it, but it's going to hold the project up another week or so. So unfortunately, that messes the timing up with paving. So my understanding is that the project in the next couple of weeks will be to the point where they're ready for the ground to settle, where the earth has been disturbed, digging it up. But unfortunately, it looks like the paving will not take place until latter February, early March. However, they are going to put a substance down on the roadway that will to make it drivable and be able to, for the neighborhood to be able to use the road. But it will not be finished paved till late February, early March. I think that's about it. Yes.
I want Mr. Maffei also to update you on something that we didn't talk about, giving you an extensive beachfront update, but Village Road, Joe, can you
Yes. Emergency
right
access.
down here, because obviously we want to correct it.
Basically, we have the permit in place now for the Village Road, and from that point, Gary is going to take it and install it and build it so that way we have permanent vehicle access to the beach. But that permit is in hand.
Okay, so Public Works could get started on that?
Absolutely, yep.
Thank you.
Dave?
You'll take that back to the firehouse, Bruce?
All right, Councilman Roy?
I'd just like to take the opportunity to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, a very safe and secure holiday season, and not to eat too much.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right.
right,
But
sorry,
yes,
Mayor.
I want to thank the mayor for your kind words about the Veterans Parade. It was a joint effort. Eileen takes most of the credit for putting the parade together, but, we had several dozen veterans walking the parade. We had veterans riding in the trolley that could not walk. What really touched me is when a van from Nurse Home pulled up into the parade. Inside that van were 4 veterans that probably never get a chance to leave the nursing home, and they're all in their upper 90s, and it made their day. So again, thank you for everybody for attending the parade, and I look forward to the one for next year.
Absolutely, excellent. Yeah, and like Councilman Conrad also said, we had our township ceremony at the VFW right here in the Villas, and also the county ceremony was awesome too. That was over at the Naval Air Station Wildwood. I always say that Lower Township is the most patriotic municipality in the state, and I stand by that with all the things that we do to recognize our veterans. So we will continue to do that, and that leads me right into my next thing, the Lower Township Rotary Tree Lighting and Veterans Ceremony. Tuesday, November 26th. We'll start at the rec center at 7 p.m. and then we will make our way out front to the tree lighting. So again, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 26th, starting in the rec center. We have a town hall meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd at 5:30 here at Town Hall. And that's being put on by Cape Assist in conjunction with Lower Township Council. We'll be hosting a town hall meeting, Hope One bus, Narcan demonstration, informational flyers available on the table in the back of the room. And again, that's a town hall meeting, and that's put on by Cape Assist. The Hope One bus and Narcan demonstration will also take place. And so grab a flyer if you haven't already. Also, the Lower Township Rotary Christmas Parade is Saturday, December 14th. That will begin at 6 p.m. and make its way down Bayshore Road. And the last thing I have for this evening, I did want to mention the display out front. I don't know if anyone saw it on the way in. Cape Assist and some volunteers, some student volunteers, put that out for the Great Smoke Out to prevent smoking. And each stick out there represents there's 1,300 out there, which is a lot of volunteer work. Each one represents someone lost from smoking. So if you get a chance to see that, make sure you take a look. And the last thing I have is Thanksgiving Day, before you head off to see the football game at the high school. It's home this year against Middle Township, our annual Anchor Bowl. We have the annual turkey trot. It's the 17th annual turkey trot, which will be supporting the Brendan Borak Fund at CHOP. Registration is at 8, and the trot starts at 9 a.m., and that's at Cape May Fitness Center, right on Bayshore Road in North Cape May, across from McDonald's. Right now, pre-registration is over, but you can register the day of for $25. Those under 18 can register for $10. And it is a 5K run. It takes you up to our beautiful bayfront, up the bayfront and back. You can run shorter or longer, whatever you like, but it is a 5K run, which is 3.2 miles. And there's a whole lot of other information on here. But again, it starts at 9 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning, and then our kickoff at the high school is at 10 a.m. against Middle Township. So with that, we close our portion and open it up to public comments. We just ask that you state your name and address for the record. Anyone at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I've spoken here before. My name is Lynette Goodstein, and I've been very concerned about the beach access pathways that have been pretty slow in coming. My understanding is that the holdup was because we needed to have gigantic posts put in 8 feet down into the sand, and that we had to pay this enormous amount of money, $10,000 or whatever. Now I was happily informed that somebody donated their posts for us to use. However, I have yet to find anything that says we have to put those in for the stairway. My understanding is that the reason that there's been such a delay on Shadeland Avenue is because we had to meet that requirement. It is not a requirement by DEP. So I have been unable to confirm that we have to put them in like that. We have to put telephone pole size pilings in 8 feet using special equipment that costs a lot more money. It's not that I'm not interested in getting it done. I am very interested, as Mr. Perry knows and Mr. Ridgway know, that I've been avidly following this process for almost 2 years now. It's an extraordinary length of time. When at the last township meeting it was announced that, the rough cut that they did through and hurriedly did it, from what I understand, was just to appease us, to make sure that we thought that something was going on, and they left a path that was dangerous. Their response to this danger, was to come in and slap posts across between trees, put down an orange net, and a sign says, "Closed, keep out." Their response was not what it should have been. Any reasonable person who did the path to begin with that was dangerous the response should have been to come in and make it safe. And that wasn't making it safe. That was ignoring the whole problem. Because what it was there were sticks down there, there were trees that were partly cut down, there was glass in there were bottles in there was a bunch of stuff that our township, that was the way our public works department worked, or didn't work. And I just find myself appalled that anybody thinks that that's an answer to the problem that was there. To this day, I am infuriated, that I, a 73-year-old woman, has to go in there and drag these branches out and then pile them up and ask the township to please take them away. What they did with that was that the bottles and glass that I cleared, because no one should be stepping on that stuff or tripping on it, and they left that pile there rather than put it into some receptacle or to do something with it. They left it there. So the response to a process that has been going on with the township, with the residents in that area, looking forward to this path greatly, the response was to be just absolutely hostile. That is not an answer, to resolving a problem. I don't understand why our group of people in our area have been treated like this with such disrespect. It's been fighting all the way through to get this path done, one way or another, with telling things that weren't true that then true, had to be verified. I have to say that I have not been able to verify that we have to put pilings in for 8 stairs or 10 stairs that are not being slapped by the waves of the ocean. There's going to be beach erosion, but you're not going to stop the beach erosion, and all you're going to be left with is poles. You're wonderful. We're going to have 4 telephone poles sitting there, okay, when the beach is eroding right behind it, all the way and around it. Okay, it does not make any sense to me to either spend the township tax dollars that way, putting them in. I'm glad we got the things free. Free I'll take. But the idea that we have to pay for it and wait for it and be told every step of the way that they haven't planned properly is absolutely absurd. Okay, it's not the way that anything should work. And this may be my first experience with small-town township government, but I'll tell you, I worked for the federal government, so I know what slow is, okay, and I know how government works slow, but it doesn't have to, okay? There is no reason that this had to happen, okay? And I don't want to be treated like that, frankly. I don't want to have somebody leave a pile of crap there just, because they didn't do their job right, and then somebody else has to come by and put it in a bag and put it in another receptacle and take it away. They should have done it. Okay, and they should have been polite about it and not slapped a sign up. Okay, it just strikes me as the most outrageous thing after this much effort that's gone into it. We have 100 families that have signed letters saying that this path should never have been taken away from us. Okay, and it was really due to the township's failure and land grabbers on both sides. Okay, and I still don't understand why it's taken this so long. I don't care what people say. I care what they do and what they don't do. And I think that this is an outrageous example of how government doesn't necessarily work. Now, I would like to have a commitment from Mr. Ridgway, who said through Eileen to me that this would be done, our path would be done by January 1st, by the end of the year, that this would be done. Now, I find that in almost a fantasy land, because we're going to come into Thanksgiving, we're going to come into Christmas, and we're going to come into snow, and we're going to come into freezing, and we're going to come into more excuses. Okay, so I want to promise from you that we're going to have this, like you said, by January 1st. That this path will be open.
Do you want me to handle this?
I would like to answer some of this
No,
first.
I'll go, you okay if I go
Yeah.
first?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take these one at a time, and I'm going to start by telling you that I feel the fact that this township uses multiple engineering firms and if not the best, some of the best in South Jersey. We don't go in one area, we do look for specialists on these projects. And if an engineer tells me this is what has to be done, I have to tell you, I'm an accountant, I'm a business person, but I don't understand the intricacies of that path, which you yourself said years ago. People built this up. I learned some stuff from you about Japanese pines and the types of plants that grow on this path. But I also know that is a construction site. And we have construction sites going on in the township, and when people go on those construction sites, they can be cited because it's dangerous. We don't want anyone on that site. It is not complete. I was instructed at the last meeting that there was another person with you that said there's just a rope across there. There are children that are going up there, so I wanted to make it very clear this path is closed. It's closed. There was no talk about aesthetics and let's light it up at night, let's make it look festive. No, it was let's keep people out of there because it's not safe right now. So the second issue is no one should be in there. And as far as the time parameters, I have councilmen up here who represent different wards. And I hope Councilman Conrad tells you how patient his people have been for a much simpler project than that. That is very serious. It was the toughest beach access we've had to deal with, but it got the attention of this council. Councilman Perry pushed this to the top and gave it a top priority. We haven't quit. I'm not going to give you a promise this time because I'm not in a position. I would tell you this. I will do this for you. I will get a written statement from Mr. Douglas and Mr. Morey telling me I can have that for you tomorrow. But I don't know these workloads. There's pressure from all these gentlemen for, You just heard one or two. We go into the villas, there's people have been waiting 2 years for an access that it could be done in a couple, maybe a half a day. There's been a lot of time spent at Shadeland.
3 days.
It's our turn.
I'll pass the baton.
You want to go first, or you want me? One, I don't appreciate the fact that you're twisting things. At last meeting, we were very clear and told you, here's the timeline. We moved this up for you. We shut it down. It was shut down, not by us, but by the DEP. We had a cease and desist order, which you knew. You weren't supposed to go back there. You're going back there. We're trying to get this done. We told you we're putting pilings in because it's for the future. We're not going to have it put up, which we have on other streets like New Jersey, where the storms come in and knock the wood out. We're trying to make this right. We're doing it right the first time. We took some ideas even that you put in, but we're trying to do everything. I have places, as I told you at the last meeting, the villas, north end of the villas, we've been waiting 3 years to get these things. We put this one in front of it. And instead of showing appreciation or going, okay, I understand these things take time, especially with the DEP getting involved and stopping us, you're like, we should have got it done last week. We've been trying to get this done. As you said, you're saying the greedy landowners next taking over the path. We're trying to fix it. We have to follow laws and regulations and do it correctly.
I want
And
that.
this is still my turn. But you're attacking us every time we come up when we're trying to do the right thing and get it done. These people need it. We're looking to make sure it's done by next summer, but I have people in the villas that want their paths done there. And guess who should have been the priority with me? The people in the villas. My Ward 1 people. But because we knew that had to be done and we wanted public access for that neighborhood, we've been trying to push that one ahead right now. At this point, the way I'm hearing things, I think we made a mistake in doing that. We should have left that as woods until we got done the ones in the villas. And that is all I have to say.
That's fine. You may say that,
there's
but
someone
what have you been doing in the meantime? In other words, well, you haven't been working on our project since August 12th. or
We're
August-
not allowed to work on certain parts of the
I
beach and stuff.
understand that.
Yes,
But it doesn't mean you can't work. In other words, why isn't your project then moved into a?
because we're not allowed on the beach till after September 15th, I believe is the date, correct, Joe? We're not allowed to touch anything down on the beach until then. That is state law.
The nesting is between, is a different, is a.
We're
different
not
period.
allowed on the beach until after September 15th, state law.
I'd like to just to try to finish up here with the project. Public Works in Lower Township does a lot more than beach baths. They do road paving. They do the maintenance in the entire area that's on township properties.
Right, I'm not-
They work all year long, 12 months out of the year. And there's only so many people to do so many projects. And they try to time their work. So when they can work on the beach, that's when they work on the beach. And usually, well, for the other beach paths they've done, is probably the worst possible weather conditions that we have here in Lower Township. In January and February, when it's below freezing and the wind's blowing, those guys are out there working, trying to get things done. And as Mr. Ridgway said, there's probably over 60-some beach paths, if not more, in Lower Township. And Shadeland was put to number one to get done. And as Councilman Conrad has stated, it's kind of a little bit slap in the face that we're trying to do the best we can with the equipment that we have, the personnel we have, the time we have to do it, and to put you to number one and you act like you're number 100. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to the people of Public Works
Wait.
that are working to try to get this job done.
Okay. I have been told at numerous times, I can't tell you how many times people said, we've turned this in to get the permit from the DEP. We've turned this in. None of that was true. It wasn't 30 or 60 days. It wasn't that. I was told that for almost one full year, okay, with one lie after another, or one almost true, almost happened, almost was, but it wasn't. So don't say that it was stopped by the DEP. It was put a halt on. It was put on for one reason, and that was because they wasn't sure that whether or not that property line had been in fact vacated. Okay.
You were
at one
told
point.
last meeting the DEP
Right.
did a cease and desist
And then they
order.
had to confirm
But
it.
now
And
you're
I would
changing
too.
it.
I would absolutely too. I've never said anything that the DEP did or didn't do was wrong.
You're denying it right
But
now.
the slowness was with us, with filing those papers. And they say, would have no idea why. Everyone would tell me, oh, it's going in, and it'll be 30 or 60 days, 90 days, whatever. That was a year of 90 days is, okay.
Lynette, how can you stand and say that the DEP hasn't held this up when you contacted the DEP and they called me after I had told you that the information for us was that we couldn't put I-5 down on that path because of the surface, whatever it was. But lo and behold, a month later, we received information they had changed their mind because they heard from a resident. They went and checked it out. So we had to change what we were going to do then. That wasn't what we were going to. Now, can I finish,
that took
please?
less than 7 hours.
Okay.
Okay, because what I did was
Uh,
the fault.
Yep. Anybody else? Thank you. Yes, sir.
I just want the path done, and I certainly want nothing to be done out of the realm of safe or according to the law. I am a very law-abiding, right and wrong person, trust me.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and that's exactly what I want to see happen here. But I don't want to be told one thing after another that ends up to be fabrication over and over again. I would like to see in writing from what department, because it's not the DEP telling you have to use those posts, okay? Because the DEP told me that they don't get involved with construction. That was their answer to that, okay?
All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Gilstock.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to put on the record that besides all of this, the township has, started with the resiliency grant. Joe and I went to training for a full day on wave attenuation devices. Joe's company designed these. It was part of the village road project to put out there to reduce the erosion and actually to get some accretion on the beach in that area. The DEP denied the permit. This is what we deal with after. Can you tell them how the timeline on that, Joe?
As Bill said, we actually want to try something different, to try to basically improve the beaches. So we had a project that we actually tailored after what something the Nature Conservancy had done in other areas of the bay, kind of followed that same design. We figured we might as well piggyback it with our village road, because that's where we wanted to put it, right in front of Village Road. It would, if it works, it was great. But the bottom line is it would give us information so that maybe we can use this in other sections along the bayfront. Unfortunately, after, I think it was almost 90 days, 3 months, 4 months before they kept arguing back and forth about whether or not we could do it, whether or not we couldn't. And finally, the only thing we had to do in order to continue with our village road, which was the main priority, was to just take that out of the permit and just basically trash that.
And this wasn't a multi-million-dollar operation. We were going to utilize either high school kids, college students. They build these things, it's just stacking blocks, and it's been effective in other areas, correct?
Yep.
So I just want the public to know that, you know, we're moving in a lot of directions here on the beach. It's not just the past, it's other ideas, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, sometimes coming up with new and improved ideas, permitting-wise, becomes difficult.
Understood. Anyone else?
Bill Greenfield. Yeah, I didn't plan to get up now, but tying in with beach access paths and erosions, any updates on the berm, or, because that could help with
That's
some
what
of the
Corps of
erosion
Engineers
on the
waiting
beach
for them to
path.
approve and fund.
The Army Corps.
Yeah.
That's still way off.
That's not a fabrication.
media.
We actually are waiting.
Right, okay. That's going to help with
They actually do
the beach paths eroding.
the last time I heard, they're only going up to Spruce right now. It's their plan. And there was
Oh,
some
that's
holdup in
too far.
Cumberland to get it. One town in Cumberland didn't want it. And I said, hey, we can solve this fast. The north end of Village will take that and we'll sign off on it.
Right.
And they laughed, but I was dead serious. Because that way I could get the whole village covered. And it'd be from Cox Hall Creek all the way to the north end of the village, actually maybe past Fishing Creek. But they were adamant that they wanted 2 sections in Cumberland County.
Yeah, because there's sections like from Drum Bed to Ohio where it's,
We have to
Getting
get
like
the whole thing
horseshoe.
protected,
right.
but it's in phases. Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then
there's
they have
like
to
a
get it
spot
funded.
here where it's bad, a spot, that's getting really bad there.
I know.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
First, I was going to just talk about the Veterans Parade, but Lynette, nobody's ever been disrespectful to you or lied to you. Everybody's treated you with kindness, given you a lot of time that we don't always give to everybody. We have set up special meetings for you to explain everything that's going on. I need you to understand that and show some kind of gratefulness for that, because the project is moving forward. You're making it sound as if we have not done what we said we're going to do. As far as the timeline of the project, yes, it's taken a little longer than we had talked about. But the way you have been treated, you're misrepresenting the way you've been treated. We have treated you kindly and with respect the entire time. We have.
May I respond to that for 1 second? 1 second.
No, I want to finish what I have to say. So I was getting up here tonight to just, I want to thank our businesses and residents along Bayshore Road for our Veterans Parade. We go out there right before the parade starts, a week or two, and we talk to everybody out there. The businesses, now Bayshore Road is shut down for well over an hour, probably an hour and a half. And they're not complaining about it, they're excited about it. They are encouraging us to make it bigger, make it longer, make it better. And I just want to say thank you to all of them, because they really step up and support this parade. And so did the rest of the community. Deputy Mayor had mentioned the van. That van that came by, it was from Genesis, and they actually had the names and the branch of service that these gentlemen served in. I had the opportunity to step on the van and meet them. We kind of told everybody, stay still for a second, I want to meet these guys. And when I say that the smiles and the tears were all together at the same time, and it was an amazing experience that I wish everybody could just take a minute and see. So coming out to the parade means a lot to the people. So just want to say thank you to everybody. That's it.
Absolutely, duly noted. Yes, ma'am, very briefly, as long as you promise to end in a happy Thanksgiving, I'll let you, yeah, please.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. I was told initially, okay, and I mean, I understand that people have been polite. I don't think that that's not true. I was told with the path, when Shadeland Path, by you, to me, that all those paths, that path didn't exist anymore, and that they had redrawn the map. And I said, when did they redraw the map? And you said, last week, okay? I went down to the only person who always gave me straight shot was Jennifer Dow, down at the assessor, okay, who said, no, that's not true. Okay, the fact is that the map was not redrawn. It was the exact same map that I had looked at when I bought my house. And so I beg to differ about how we established a lack of trust on my part for what people would say to me. Okay, because it was a repeated event. Yes, you've given me time. Time to what? Explain another myth. That's all.
And a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. All right? I get a motion to adjourn?
No,
Oh,
resolution number
Closed session.
2019-352. A resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss a negotiation update, litigation update, contract update, and attorney-client privilege.
I make the motion.
Second.
action may be taken.
taken afterwards.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. Council may return to open session to take action on a union contract. I'm sorry, I have a motion by Councilmember Conrad and a second by Mayor Simonson. Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.
Okay.